lights.
I've got more, but I haven't turned them all on.
Those are cute.
They're cute, aren't they? Because there was no lamp in here, and I thought, oh, you got to get the ambience right, you know.
I hear you.
All right, so I don't know. I'm gonna try and move the stuff around in here for the rest of the week, but that's
Yeah, go
probably
ahead
the
and get
best.
set up. No big deal. I'm still getting settled in myself here.
There we go.
I like to sip a little bit of my tea before we start.
Yeah, you're gonna want that on.
Man, I'm super fantabulous, man. I'm super fantabulous. Thank you, Seafood. Uh-oh, I knew I was forgetting something. Hold on, family. Hold on 1 minute. You want to go in there and lay down? Go ahead. I'd rather you go in there and lay down. All right. I think Jeremy said he was going to stop by today. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I heard that this morning too.
Yeah, the Grand Rising. So, Steph, your day right now is the same time that we have our Grand Risings. So we're basically duplicating each other on the flip side.
It's getting kind of stuck right there.
That's funny.
I hear you.
Yeah, I remember, man. Shoot, when I first started out training, I would get up at 3:30 a.m.
Yeah, you were saying. Well, I usually do. So because our daylight savings at the moment, it flips over 2 hours. So a lot of the time, I will get up at 3:30 for our class.
Because I had to go to work too as well. I had a job then. So, and
but
I
you
had
know
to
what I mean? The daylight savings goes.
Yeah, I
It's
dig
like
it. I dig it.
3:45 our class, and then the daylight saving changes for like a month or two, and it's like 4:45.
Oh wow,
and
that's
then
weird. That's a lot of changes taking place.
5:45. So we're always like, you know,
That's a lot of changing taking place.
Fluctuating.
Yeah, you got to get into a position where your time, everything revolves around you, and you don't have to be dependent on all this other stuff. That's the goal for everybody, you know. How does the world fit into our world instead of us adjusting to their world?
No, I hear you, and I want to make my training a priority before anything else.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You start getting in a little small daily routine.
Yeah.
And over the years, I always tell people, Tai Chi will give you time. Yeah. You get your time. You get your time back.
I know. Everything else is just distractions, really.
You get your time back. Trust me.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Oh, right yeah, there. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. This is the black water tiger, I believe it is.
Yeah, I'm a tiger.
Water tiger.
It's a good year for me.
War, W-A-R?
Water, W-A-T-E-R.
Right, correct. Yes, water tiger.
Water tiger, yeah. I'm a fire tiger, but I still figure it's going to be a good year.
So what's the attributes of the tiger?
Well, we're fierce.
Cute
and cuddly, but like fierce and ferocious at the same time.
They're also known for being very stubborn.
Oh yeah, I get that from my father.
They're known for being very stubborn, also.
I am very stubborn.
Really, huh?
Yes.
Well, I'm a water ox, and oxes are also known for being very stubborn. So.
So it was just your year. We just had the year of the ox.
Absolutely, that's why I said it just put everything in place that whole year.
Yeah, so this is my year. Excellent. Thank you. Great. It's about bloody time.
I walked off of that security job a year ago, back in January. Never looked back, and everything just started perpetuating. So let's get into it, family. Let's get us some Tai Chi going. So as I stated earlier, I am recording this. I think I am. It looks like it's recording. So So this is what I had in mind today. To do a little Tai Chi ball training. You know how we do the ball cultivation exercise. Play around with that a little bit, various ways, maybe possibly some new ways. Revisit our ward off, forward, backwards motion in the ward off, and also the rotating ward off, and do some change doors. So some good stuff. Let's get into it. So go ahead and get into your Tai Chi ready position. Start relaxing. Searching inside of your body, making sure everything is in Tai Chi proper ready position, such as crown point extended, tip of the tailbone reaching down to the earth, breathing from the nose, not from the mouth. Tip of the tongue placed softly at the roof of the mouth. Take a few deep breaths, just nice, long, slow. Focus on the exhale actually being longer than the inhale. And just focus on that. Don't force it. Just feel it, let it flow. All the way in, all the way out. Relax your knees, relax your feet on the surface of the floor or earth or whatever it is you're standing on. Release your toes. Don't grasp the earth with your toes. No conflict with the earth and yourself. Releasing. Tip of the chin slightly tucked in. And on this exhale, let's go ahead and begin. So begin our bow. Tailbone pulls us down. 4 ounces of weight connected to the tip of the tailbone pulls us down. As we breathe in, the rebound force, following it up from the soles of the feet, ankles, knees, hips, lower body, coming all the way through every vertebrae in the spine, up to the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, the palms, the fingertips, all the way out into the horizon, out infinitely, in front of you, below you, behind you, and also on the side of you. As you inhale, pulling up the energy, following it back above yourself. The weight shifts to the front of the feet. Capture the energy in the palms. Cover it with a soft fist. Protected by a shield. Folding forward. Left hand's a fist all the way down. And then take your time. Inhale from the bottom all the way up. Nice, long, relaxed breath. Once you're at the top, bring that energy back in towards your heart chakra. Open the hands, twist, separate, take a breath out, and wash your organ system as you exhale all the way down. Release the energy into the ground, let it recycle. Breathe in back up through the inside channels of your legs, back into the lower dantian, and back into Tai Chi ready position. Bow complete. Welcome, my brother. Brother Jeremy, come on in, brother. We just bowed in. We knew you'd be here. We knew you'd be here. We were just talking about you. Come on in, man. Hey, by the way, I am recording this video here, so just to be aware, I want to start recording all the lessons again. So let's go in from our ready position. Breathe up the outside channels of the legs from dantian into the palms, and let the ball come out. Hold the ball in between the palms. Inhaling, expanding, expansion and contraction. Take your time and feel. Breathe into your palms. Make sure your knees are still softly bent. The body is still relaxed. Have to be soft and gentle. Soft and gentle. Breathing into that space in between the palms and in between your arms. So it's not just between your hands, It's on the whole inside of your hands and your arms as well, collapsing that entire space. And then inhaling, expansion into that entire space, focusing on it with all of our senses. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Just taste, just smell, just focus. Hey, Dan, could you turn your mic off, please? All the way down. Take your time focusing. Expansion and contraction. So not only are the arms expanding and contracting, but the body is also expanding and contracting. Left and right hemisphere opening and then closing, collapsing in. Like squeezing the ball in. The legs are getting squeezed in. Outward is coming inward, and then inward is returning back to outward. And then the outside comes back into the inside. Like an accordion. In and out. Just breathe. Take a couple more breaths, just like that. And then we're going to transition from Tai Chi Ball. We'll go into the ward off. Make it very small and feel in between your palms. See if you can close your eyes as you expand and contract. Feel whatever it may be between your palms, the coolness, the wind, the heat, and pay attention to the changes to take place as the palms get closer together and farther apart. When does the change take place? Is there a change? What's causing the change? Is it the sun? Is it the light? Is it the shadow? Is it the wind? Just becoming the observer. All the way in, all the way out. Take your time. Nice, full, deep, diaphragmatic breathing. Nice, full, deep, diaphragmatic breathing. No force. Silent breath. Full breath. Exhale longer than the inhale. Take your time. Now, slowly begin to bring your Tai Chi ball back into its resting place, back into the lower dantian. Allow it to enter in through the front of your body. And as it goes into your body, it begins to press into the inside of your back. And now you're in your heels. And you begin to feel back in as your body weight moves from heel back into the front part of your foot. And you find your center. Holding Tai Chi ball inside. From here, let's go into ward off as we sink down in our center, shifting over toward our left side, rotating on the ball of the foot on the right foot. As we turn body, we begin to take out our Tai Chi ball from the left side, following it into the ground, extending the arm down toward the foot. Now the left foot steps forward, heel touches the ground first, and I pull up my left arm coming into the ward off. The right Tai Chi ball comes out. I'll turn sideways so you can see. So the right one comes out and follow right behind. Now I want you to make this a big ward off. So, in other words, don't have your hands real close together like this. I want you to spread that thing out more, pull it back. And when you look down from your elbow, the one that you're pulling back, you should be able to glance down and see your knee in a straight vertical line. That's a big, big ward off. I want you to make it large. The large helps the body to stretch more. So this is the big blue line coming down. Vertical line from knee to elbow. On the hand is pulled back. Now the front hand is up here like this, right? I'm stretching in order to have this vertical line back here for the other elbow, as if it's resting upon that vertical line. Elbow over knee, 6 harmonies. Stretching forward and backwards, same time. Stretching left and right, same time. Up and down, same time. All of these directions taking place. Hold your ward off. Now, what I want you to do, once you establish that big ward off, make sure you find it first, that elbow is proper over that knee. Find it. Now, I want you to begin to go from being weighted in your front leg, because at this point, you should have the majority of your weight in your front leg. I want you to shift back into the middle of that posture, feel in the center, differentiating in front and center. So now you're 50-50. And then I want you to go from 50-50 into your rear leg. So I want you to feel those 3 positions, forward, middle, and back. And take your time. Make it Tai Chi, forward and backwards motion. Stopping and just feeling it sometime, as if you're doing just a standing practice alone. Stop there for a couple breaths. Don't rush through it. Breathe when you visit there. Get yourself 5 or 6 long, deep breaths. That's not much to feel each position individually. 5 or 6 breaths. Forward stance, 5 breaths. Middle stance, 5 breaths. Rear stance, 5 breaths. Tai Chi breaths. All the way in, all the way out. Releasing. This is how you build power in your form. Take your time. Forward and backwards. Forward, middle, and rear. Find those 3 positions. Be able to differentiate. That's only 15 breaths of standing in one posture. That's not much. Feel your hips. Make sure your hips are relaxed. Front foot is straight. Back foot is 45 degrees. Take your time. Forward and backwards. Passing through front, middle, and rear. 5 breaths each location. Once you've done that, step back, change doors the proper way, step into the other side, train it the same way. Forward, middle, and back. 3 spaces, 5 breaths each. Solo form ward-off training. Take your time. Feel it. It's about feeling. It's no thought. Spend time with your breath. Spend time with yourself. Feel the breath. Be there. Feel the posture. Make it perfect upon the very first step. Hold the posture. Stretch it out. 6 harmonies. Elbow over knee. There's always a forward and backwards tension in between the 2 arms, as if separating a piece of paper. Just a slight pull. If the arms are pulling, the body's pulling. Forward and backwards. Left and right. Up and down. In and out. It's all there. Take your time. 5 breaths. Change doors. Check your crown point.
Mine doesn't feel right.
Fix it. That's why we're doing it.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I can't find the different spots.
It's the same posture. Ward off. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Not much else to it. Step straight ahead. Now, are you feeling correct now? If you're feeling correct now, you're good.
It's not bad.
So I would say maybe
That's
not as long of a step. Shorten your step a little bit, and widen your space so that you can turn your hips more straight.
Like that.
Yeah. So the hips need to be going in the same direction, right? Yes. So that may have to take some time. But you know the goal, and that's why we stand like this. And the more you relax in your hips, over time you'll begin to gain more space, and you'll be able to turn more. That look like you just relaxed real nicely.
Yeah,
Right.
trying to open up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of tension in there actually because I drove for like 5 hours yesterday.
This is the perfect time to get rid of it. Work on getting rid of some of it. Perfect practice for that. So this is releasing. This is a releasing practice. With
I
these slow.
find it like my arm's like too far forward, but if it's going to be over my knee, it just feels really wrong.
Something.
So I need to open my knee outwards more.
The knee should always be over and pointing in the same direction as your toes. So most of the time when there's a problem, it's the hips and waist.
Yeah.
Because everything else falls below that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if the hips and waist are off, the feet are going to be off. So it's just a matter of time and being able to reconstruct the body. So it's not expected to be perfect coming right away. But at least you notice that it doesn't feel 100% right. Jeremy, how you doing with it? You doing good with it?
Yeah, it's making me very warm.
All right, so now get back into it. Now we're going to go from forward and backwards. Now this is going to help you even more, Steph. Now it's time to rotate. It's time to rotate. So a rotating ward off. I'll demonstrate it. You've seen me do it before. You've done it before yourself. So we're shifting forward and backwards, and we're also rotating. And we can only rotate in how many directions? Left and right, right? So I'm already getting my posture lined up. I'm relaxing all of this stuff. All right. Pulling up my ward off, I'm turning. Before I go forward, I must sit down on my rear leg. Then I can go forward. I can shift forward. Right? I can go backwards and forwards. Then I can begin to turn, rotating. So rotating from left to right or right to left. Relax your toes. Also, as you shift forward, be sure that your knee is in proper alignment. So you should feel your hips, the balls of your hips working really nicely here. Because you know what you should also be working here? Your figure 8 in the bottom of your feet. Very, very, very meticulously. So you got a lot of work going on here. So focus on your figure 8 as you do your rotation. And really be honest with it. Where are you? Go ahead and begin. You got it. Focus on the bottom of the feet in that figure 8 with your tailbone. This is going to help the hips. Be honest on your feet. Feel those 1 points. Those 1 points that we always
Are
talk
your
about.
hips moving, or are your hips and waist moving?
My waist is really not moving as much, but my hips is very well connected because the hips is driving through from the feet, and the waist follows the movement of the hips, but
Okay.
not as much.
Okay. So you're not separating the waist from the hips here.
Correct.
Are you focusing like on the tailbone to lift the gate?
I am, and you could as well if you're able to. And once you feel like you've done a few breaths and you got it down, change door, do the other side. Just this alone is a lot of work inside of this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of work is inside of this. Figure 8, tailbone, rolling ward off. Change doors a couple times. Get your 5 breaths. Don't rush, just like before. Stay there. Get to feel the posture. Get to feel it. That's El Plantar Fasciatus, huh?
Oh man, it sounds like popcorn.
You're breaking through all that crud, man. We're breaking through it. We're rebuilding. Make it nice and meditative. It's only 5 breaths. 5 breaths, change doors. And flow with it when you do your change doors. Make it a nice, smooth flow. You always want to have a nice, smooth flow. And once you've done both sides 5 times, go back to Tai Chi Ready Position. And just relax a bit. Take some breaths. Then we're going to transition into something else. But don't rush through these here. Don't rush through these. Single form training. And just feel what's going on. Just being the observer. All those changes that your body take place. The weight distribution, points on the bottom of the floor, the engagement of the tailbone, the hips, pelvis, and waist. What is everything doing? How does everything relate? Jeremy, bring your ward off up a little higher, my brother. A little low. Yeah. Gotta have some pong in there. A little space under your armpit on the other side. Other arm. There you go. Check your crown point. I'm not sure if it's there or not. Just reminders. Just reminders. Relax your hips.
How?
With your mind.
Oh my God, I'm so tired.
Relax the muscles in your glutes, your butt muscles, your lower back muscles. Always come back to those places. Just checking. Because they always build tension in all of us. Quadriceps, hamstrings, always just go back. And whatever's there, it's just a releasing. It's always just releasing. And knowing it's going to be there because it just happens. It's natural. But we continue to release. And then there, one day, it's just not as much anymore. But we continue to release anyway. It's funny how the practice works. It's pretty good. Now let's transition this into one more. One more for the figure 8 and for the hips. So let's go back to the ready position. Do it the proper way. Turn your back foot. Do it like a Tai Chi person. Get in the habit of doing everything just right every time. Because that's how you're going to do it in reality. When you need it, you're going to do it the way that you practice it. If it don't make sense to you now, it will later. So let's go back into the same way that we got into ward off, but we're going to come into posture for long and shorthand. Now, you know long and shorthand is excellent for figure 8 work. And I want you to really find your figure 8 whenever you're ready. You don't have to rush into it. You want to let your body relax a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get into it so I can show you how to get there. So we go from the ready position, like always. When we release, there's always going to be a rebound. Yeah. Sit down. As you're sitting, Tai Chi ball comes out, same like before, pointing down. Now this one comes up like hands attaching. Like the back of the hand coming up. The other one just comes out and follows. And we get right into it. You know your figure 8, right? You know your long and short hand. So over here now going to the front right high corner, right? Turn. My weight's on my rear leg, which is my right leg. I had to sit down before I take off because it's sinking. So I sit down on my right leg and I shift through my center. My body begins to get tall and raising up on my left leg. So much so that my back foot can nearly come off of the floor. It's so light, barely anything back there. Remember, fisherman casts his net, right? Turn, sink back, still high. And then here I begin to sink, getting low. I shift back because my arms have to pass my body here, have to cross through. This is like an intersection. So I shift back even more. And I rise up on that right side like I'm casting the net over here now. So much so my front foot can nearly come off of the floor. And I turn inside my hips. This is a great hip opener. And then sink, but you have to be in the right place at the right time. You gotta sink. And you rise. So it gives you that pumping action. Pumping up and down, left and right with your figure 8. Get yourself a few nice deep breaths. Don't think about the mechanics of it so much. Get into the breath of it. Give yourself 5 good breaths. Change doors and then flow back into the other side. Get away from the mechanics. Feel the breath. Full and empty. When you can full and empty, it's going to make your posture better. Focusing on the exhales, focusing on the empty, 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 empty. Letting go. Slow down. Don't go so fast. Usually when we start movement, we speed up. We start speeding up our breath. When we're standing still, generally we breathe a lot slower. Work your figure eight with your tailbone. We're building up now. You see how we build up with that? We've been through so many places with this. Don't lose your tailbone. Don't lose your figure eight. Be honest and sincere in that figure eight. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. Easy to get lazy on that. That looks good though. I like it. Nice flow. Nice flow, Jeremy. Nice, nice. You're in the right places, my bro. Mm-hmm. Your spine will unwind with this one. All the way down into the earth, all the way up, infinitely in all of these different directions. You're going infinitely, infinitely down, infinitely up, right and left. Super powerful. At your own discretion, you change size and flow into it. Make every part precise. Your changes. When you step back, turn that back foot, go to parallel stance. Do it right. Do it the right way. Burn it inside of you. Your Tai Chi will grow. Be very, very specific. The same habits we build in our Tai Chi practice are basically habits that we have in life and everything else that we do. We can only be ourselves. Get you some up and down in there, Steph.
Pardon?
Get you some more up and down in there. Rise on the rise and sink on the sink with your arms. All right.
How does this arm come out? So this arm comes out like that, and then this one just follows it.
That's good enough.
My feet are wrong.
So as your arms begin to descend, your body should be descending with it. Right there. Descending. And then you should be rising right there. Now you should be descending again. Now, yeah. Shifting back and turning to allow those arms to go to the front corner. Let them go high. Let them go up. That way you can turn. Allow the hips to follow. Turn. Now you should be sinking over there. That's it. This is going to help your hips. That's what these are designed for. Opening the quad, opening the hip, the inside, and as well as the femoral head. Excellent exercise for the femoral head. You know, the big ball on the top of the femur, that big long bone on the leg, which fits right into the pelvis, right? There you go. That's good work, family. That's really good work. Let's do one more exercise here. This one is dealing with Tai Chi ball. It's not so much flowy. This one is more static. But since we're focusing on the hips and the quad so much, I'd like you to have this in your toolbox. Probably got something very similar to it from me before, but so we're going to establish this posture first. So we breathe in. I got my Tai Chi ball here, right? I shift over, same thing. Sit down first. Most people do this. They don't sit down. They start doing this, transferring over already. You see that? But if you do this, first, you will have some type of root when you show up over here. So basically, we're coming into Tai Chi ball. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Let me step back. I'll turn sideways too. So this is the Gong Bu. Get used to this stance. This is our Tai Chi stance. Make sure it's proper. Hips are proper. Shoulders proper. Holding a Tai Chi ball here. Like we normally hold it parallel. So we're not parallel. We got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back on an angle. Still hold the Tai Chi ball shape here. Feel the expansion and contraction, not just of your arms and your hands, but also of the body. So the body is like that instrument, the accordion, right? It opens out laterally and it comes in laterally. You get that pumping energy going outward. So not just up and down vertically, but outward. And just breathe out. Now, because while you're doing this, you're spreading this apart. This is spreading out. While you're doing this, all right, you're making this open up too. All right? And you're in your Gong Bu. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Now I want your back foot, your rear foot. I want the majority of your weight on your front foot or your front leg, not just your foot. The back foot comes up on the heel. On the ball of the foot. On the ball of the foot. And then turn away, turn to your right side, holding your Tai Chi ball still. So the back foot is on the ball of the foot, which allows you to get a nice turn, turning your Tai Chi ball. And then come back, turn slowly. Back to your center. Now, with your weight, the majority on your front foot, very little on the back. I want you to turn on the ball of your foot with the weight on it, the front foot, with your weight on it, turn. Until the point that your shoulders are in alignment, if you can. So I'm on the ball of my foot with which was my front foot before. It's not now because I'm facing a different direction. But you get what I'm saying. So my weight is now in this right leg, majority. And now I begin to turn back with my Tai Chi ball. And now one more time. The weight majority is on my front leg. I turn on the ball of the foot on my rear leg, and I turn my Tai Chi ball by turning my waist, which turns my shoulders. And then I turn back very slowly, going back. Now at this point, once again, the majority weight, look at the angle of my leg here also, very important. See that? The front leg, that angle. So when I turn, I don't turn from here first. That's why I hold the ball here, to keep me from doing that. I turn with my hips and waist while the leg is still weighted, turning on the ball of my foot. And that changes my weight back to my rear leg. My shoulders in a straight line. I'm holding a Tai Chi ball. My left leg, which was my front leg, is on the ball of the foot. And then I turn back. So how do I turn back? I turn my waist, turn my hips, and everything else will turn and follow. And then I change doors. Step to the other side. You got it?
I don't know if my feet were right when I was turning back then.
They probably weren't.
No.
They probably weren't, which is expected for the first day of duty. It might be a little off, but you have to figure it out. That's it. It's called body awareness. So it's going to start feeling right from you doing it. So get back into it. Do the other side.
Okay.
How about you, Jeremy? All right, let me watch you do it. So this is hips and waist action here. So with the weight on the front foot. You allow your knee to bend a little bit more, that back knee. Let it bend a little bit more. There you go. Good.
Hang on.
Weights on the front foot. And no, not the front. Doesn't go like that. You should be on the ball of your front foot to turn. So get back on the front leg again and turn that way you were turning. On the ball of the foot with it weighted. Heel up off of the floor just like the back foot was. There you go. You got it. You had it. Yeah, maybe a little more bend in your front knee at this point. Because it's mimicking your back leg, which should bring your heel up a little more. Yeah, it helps you settle your hip down more when you bring that heel off of the floor. Now, as you shift back to neutral, your weight's going to transfer naturally back to that back leg if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
All right, you're doing it right. Now you're in your front leg. Yes. That's it. Now you're going to be coming on the ball of the foot on that front foot. Let the back foot get where it should be.
Well,
Okay, also, let me show you something, Jeremy. Well, I should have took a picture of that. Yeah, I will. Let me get my camera. I'll talk to you about it later. Do that again. Let me take a picture. I'm going to share this picture with you later. I want to show you something. Get back in it, and then I'm going to show, after I take the picture, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll share this with you later.
Which way do you want me to go first?
The second way, front foot turning to the inward, off of the front foot being weighted, the ball of the foot. Is the ball of the foot up off the ground, the heel up off the floor more?
Yes, that's it.
All right, good. All right, good. You did both sides? So let me show you how I do it when I'm on my front. So this is my front leg weighted. My back one is bent, and I wanted you to turn off the front one being weighted, right? Notice that as I turn, this knee will never go out past my toe when I turn. This knee will never go out like this. It'll stay here because I'm turning from here. I'll face you forward now. And do the same thing.
So are both feet turning at the same time?
No, they're not, but I'm putting emphasis on the front foot right now.
Okay.
So look at the vertical up and down is what I'm getting at. You don't want this to come out here like this. You want it to stay over the toe steel because it's weighted. So just be mindful of that. Relax inside the quad more.
Yeah, it feels amazing for my hips. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but what an amazing stretch.
Yes, especially if you don't overturn the back foot. Still keep that one on a 45. And these shoulders are in alignment. You get a nice turn inside the hips.
Mm.
And be mindful of your knees. That's the only thing that you can hurt your knees if you don't do it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. I can feel that.
All right. How'd it feel, Jeremy? You feel in your hips?
I'm having trouble keeping my knees from extending over my toes.
All right. Starts with awareness. You'll get it. That's how I got it. It's not easy. It's a body connection. It's something inside of us that have to be done differently. And it's like, dang, what is it?
Mm. Is this right?
What is it?
So is this right?
It looks
Is
pretty
that
close.
right? Is this foot's still facing forward? My front foot?
Yeah. Now, how about the other way, the inward way? So that's turning outward. So turn in. Not too bad. I'd like to see that back knee bend a little bit more. Yeah, it's not too bad. Face me and do that one facing me so I can see you facing me head on.
Like,
Your final posture, I want you facing me.
okay. Got me turning this way? Is that right?
You're supposed to be turning inward.
The other way. This way.
Yeah, start there, and then you'll be facing inward when you turn back towards me.
Like that.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah.
And my front foot's going that way, is that correct?
Is your knee over your toes?
No.
Well, you got to find that position.
Is your knee over my?
I mean, it's not past your toe, is it? Is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, well, you're good then. You can bring it up to it.
It's really twisting my hip, like it feels good.
You feel the twisting inside your hip good?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's
That's
deep.
what we
It's
want.
a deep stretch.
That's what we want. Dan, how you doing with it?
I think okay. When we come off of this side and we come around, we're
Don't
equal
turn your
weighted.
feet.
Don't turn the feet.
No, when you turn in, your front foot should be turning on the ball of the foot. Yeah, should be pivoting on that.
I feel pigeon-toed. Is that right?
So the back foot should be still on the 45-degree. Well, what's your back is now your front, and that should be on 45-degree angle. So it should never move. You're only moving one foot. You shouldn't have moved that foot. That
I
foot's
feel
supposed to.
pigeon-toed too, though.
That foot's
When
supposed
you
to
go
stay
like
where
that,
it's
when you
at.
turn, your arm pigeons up.
Okay.
And now you have to relax in your hips. Yeah, so your back foot. Which is your back foot right now?
This one.
Yeah, I know. Which one is that?
Left leg.
Okay,
left
so
leg.
that left foot should not move.
Okay, so only the right one on the ball.
Yes.
Now I
even
feel
more. You're not on your ball of your foot.
So I need to be on the ball both feet?
No, on the right foot.
Just the right foot. Okay.
And you got to turn that in more, a lot more, because you're going to pivot on that. Yes.
Wow, that does feel awkward. Okay.
Yes. Now relax your back knee a little more, that right knee more. Bend that knee. There you go. And now turn your hips more even. Yes. Because you want those shoulders to be in a straight line. That looks a lot better right there. I'm going to go ahead and bow out, family.